guys, Stray fans, it's Stray Devil Fox back once again with another reaction video. Holy cow, Dead Space is getting a remake. Oh, I'm super excited for it, and I can't wait. Dead Space is like one of my all-time favorite EA games, and man, I never thought they would have done a remake of Dead Space. I loved the first game, and I'm sure if you guys are here as well, you're most likely a Dead Space fan as well. But oh man, I'm so excited to see what they have in store. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. I have not seen anything from the remake other than maybe just the initial announcement, but so we've got the environmental lighting demo, so let's see what they have in store for us. I can't wait to see. Give me one moment here. All right, so let's see what they got going for us. I am ready.
Let's get straight into it and talk about the Dead Space remake.
All right, let's get started.
So we're gonna dive right in with the classic dark and claustrophobic headbanger hallway.
All right, all
Shown here
right.
on the screen is what Dead Space looked like in 2008. Although revolutionary for its time, let's see the design process and how it looks now. Roman and Phil, can you show us?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, so
Come on.
One of the first things that
Show
we
it.
did was
Show
we went back to the legacy assets for the game.
Oh, okay. So they brought it to its bare bones.
The proxies, the full ship, the Ishimura, to recreate it. And then our art team went in and started an added level of details to the environment.
Oh,
so we could have a
honestly,
higher
it
fidelity
does
and
seem like more of a
seeing,
retexture.
what can the game look like on next generation of consoles? So we went in, added details, then started working on the shaders and the materials to try to have that metallic look that we were after. And
It's a retexture. Come on. You guys said you weren't going to do this.
From there, we did like
You guys said it was going to be a remake.
to get the mood right, because the atmosphere of Dead Space is
A real
much
remake
lighting,
was Resident
and then
Evil 2.
VFX, to try to get like that full picture of what are we after, what are we trying to achieve for the game. And
You're trying to re-achieve retextures. That's what you're trying to do.
So what type of
Come
engine
on.
did you guys use to create this? And what graphics are you aiming for?
So, great question, Jackie. We're using Frostbite as our dev engine, and we're going for, obviously, high-end graphics, high-end fidelity, and our focus is on lighting, VFX, and just overall audio.
I don't want
experience,
lighting
making sure that we
effects. I want a
deliver the
completely
right
different
atmosphere, so that was
game.
key in the original game.
Yeah, so I know we have a real life.
Yeah, they said they were going to try to
currently.
stick as
Can
closest to the
you
original as
bring
possible.
that up? And this again is a work in progress.
So yes.
All right, it's got some nice
super
lighting.
Early, like it's end of pre-production build. We are just starting production, so
Fancy lighting, ray tracing, splash water on everything. I understand.
One thing we really wanted, and you touched about it, it's really wanted to make sure that we nail the ambience, and not only the look, the lightings, the VFX, the fog, but also nail that ambience. Give you the feeling that
Nice reflective
you're in the
surfaces.
Ishimura, you're inside those dark corridors.
Oh, yeah, Isaac.
Clean game. And here's my boy Isaac. So that rig, that armor, it's not the original. It's a new one. It's still work in progress. It's gonna be improved.
Oh, it's
a lot,
new
but
armor?
It gives it first taste.
Nice.
Isaac Clarke in the remake. Look, here we are. Wow.
Oh, he's got
The
some new
lighting,
walking
everything looks
animations.
phenomenal. The smoke,
He's just all hunched over.
very much what we should
I think he's got
expect, like,
scoliosis.
from next generation graphics.
Nice. He looks like a scuba diver.
But like you never saw it, I think.
So it has been almost 13 years, you know, since the original
Oh,
game
some
came
frame
out,
rate
the
drop.
original Dead Space. Why is this remake happening now? And
Ooh,
what exactly is it?
yeah, that corridor.
Can you elaborate on that?
Guy smashing his face.
So one thing that's important for us, and that's why it's
Oh, well that
PS5.
kind of sucks. It seems like it's just more of a retexture than
that
anything.
There is not. It's not about one thing.
There's
Like,
still only
Dead
like
Space
some
is
slight
super fun
change in
experience. And so
animations,
it's
at
really
least so
about
far.
Improving on a lot of different elements to create that original but still new experience. Whether it's the new lighting and ray tracing, whether, like Phil mentioned, it's about audio, whether it's improvements to gameplay and having new zero
Make more improvements to gameplay, come on!
Dismemberment and how you actually deal damage to
Textures
the
are
enemies,
nice and all,
whether
but it's like,
about having
I want
an
some
unbroken and continuous experience. It's
game
about
changers here.
doing a lot of improvements and how we enrich that experience. And so that's really
I mean,
what
it'd
that
probably be
game
nice for
is
photo
about.
mode. I'm pretty sure they're
You
going to
know,
include
we
some
have
sort of
been
photo
looking
mode
at
in there.
Reddit, we've been looking online, and there
Because I
has
mean,
been some people
if they're
in the community
focusing this
noting
hard in
that,
the
you know,
ambience and
the game
textures,
already
then
stood
they're
the
most
test of
likely
time.
going to
It's
have
still
like a photo
considered,
mode,
quote-unquote, a
so that
perfect
way you can
game.
capture all those horrific scenes, which I love.
Exactly. And so, like we show, like I mentioned, what's really important for us, it's to capture that original ambience, that original experience, but like you've never experienced before. And that's really the aim.
I don't know. So far, I feel like I've already
And I
experienced it.
mentioned it earlier, like we want to make sure that we're honoring the legacy. That's one of our production pillars that we have for the game. But at the same time, we want to make it relevant for today. Like the games have evolved a lot since the original Dead Space came out. From obviously graphics, which is like the easiest way to see how it
they have
changed.
evolved, and
But
you
also
should
as far as
evolve the
systems-
gameplay.
Necessary to make.
Well, no, not easiest to make. No, that's for sure. But as far as systems, as far as just opportunities for gameplay and how to leverage it, that's something that we think.
You got to
that
pull a Capcom. You got to pull a Capcom with Resident Evil 2. You got to pull that.
Dead Space 2 and Dead
Got to
Space
pull
3,
that stuff off,
but also how
and
the
then I'll really be
franchise,
interested.
How just the game industry evolved outside Dead Space. There's opportunities for us to make a better, a more complete experience, let's say.
Yeah, I'm just blown away at how good everything looked from just even that small glimpse into the engine. It feels like, you know, I know you're saying it's really early, but it's just,
Yeah.
this is really, my goodness, what is it going to look like when you want to?
Oh, we cut off a little bit there.
That's really fantastic.
I thought it was honestly my end.
Surprise for later, yeah.
Nice.
So, can you please now show the stat comparison of the original 2008 game versus the current project?
Things are a lot more shiny.
Yeah, that's a massive difference. You know, you remember your favorite game in a certain way and you think that it looks great, but then when you
Sorry
see
if you guys hear a little
improvements,
noise in the background.
big
I ended up
difference.
installing some new fans on my PC, and for some reason, the
Yeah, it's
bottom
always interesting to
fans
see just
seem to
how
make a lot
far
more
we've come
noise.
in terms of
But
technology, right?
in any
Like,
case, I
it was
apologize,
only
everybody.
15 years ago, but it seems like we've gone leaps and bounds where we're able to kind of take it. All the kind of small details you're seeing on the newer model of Isaac is really fantastic to see.
I want to see some gameplay.
What are your current goals for the remake exactly? How are you going to honor the legacy of Dead Space? Because that is huge shoes to fill. Bar is set high.
Well, it is definitely, and like the team is actually extremely passionate.
Some
we're
artwork
referring
going
to
on.
a lot
Again, it just
the
seems to be
original
mostly
game,
just the
and
lighting
a lot of looks at it,
and just
like I
graphical
said, by making it
overhaul.
relevant, we're looking at different games and what they did, and see how can we bring it back inside Dead Space. So, like one of the example is something that we're trying to do is to have an unbroken experience, to make the game fully seamless. And how can that create an experience where the players even more immersed within the game?
Well, honestly, it was kind of pulling stuff like
One of
the new God of War,
we have for that game
even
is that
before God of War,
even before
that new one had came out,
till the
where
end of the game, the
you could
running
literally
time,
just play the game
never
from
have
nearly
any
beginning
break,
to
to
end.
have that
You just
full
had your
uninterrupted
save
physical
stations if you wanted to
So,
save.
That, of course, has a lot of impact on what we're building. And just starting with how the Ishimura and the structure of the game.
So it's hard that they're trying to save. It's a difficult and almost redundant feat that they're trying to put out, that they're trying to make that whole seamless elements to the game, because it seems like it was already kind of that way with the first one. I mean, it would have been nice to have the graphics that we do now back then, but I mean, now that we got all these new engines and stuff, it's understandable. But so far,
just because they were so immersed within the game.
I don't know how to feel about this remake. I'm like,
That's gonna be a back of the box.
mostly on board, but then a good portion of me is saying, I could probably hold out on it. Like I said, I probably need to see a little bit more gameplay and see what gameplay elements they've changed.
Love to hear more about that.
So of course, horror it's one of the main pillar of Dead Space, and it's about a lot of elements in Dead Space. So of course, the story, it's about that. It's that iconic survival horror story. You're alone,
Yeah, change up the story, make it so that way Dead Space 3 never happened.
For us was to get the ambience right, and so that's why we started with elements like, for example, the Headbanger Corridor or the workshop that you can see in the teaser, is to make sure.
Now, with Dead Space 3, what kind of kicked most of the people off the boat was that, or caused people to abandon ship, was that it kind of leaned more towards the action-packed style of gameplay, and that kind of took away from some of the horror. It basically pulled a Resident Evil 6, I believe, and because there was all that action and there wasn't really room to be able to build up the ambience to take like hits and everything from the enemies. Most of the time in Resident Evil 6 you could just dodge roll out of the way, but in Dead Space 1,
nothing happening that's going to actually increase the level of tension when you're playing.
You had that sort of tanky mechanic where you can only turn so fast and run a certain direction. Pretty much like going back to like Resident Evil 2, you kind of have to turn before you move forward a little bit. And I kind of like those tanky mechanics because it takes time for you to be able to move, and because of it, it creates a sort of scary a scary situation where the enemy can potentially catch up to you and just slap you around, which I love. But oh, body dismemberment tech, we'll watch that one as well. Oh, sorry about the ads, you guys. I do not sponsor the ads.
So what would this stream be without necromorphs? Isn't that what we are really
All right.
When we
Yeah,
say
let's
cut off
get to the
their limbs,
necromorphs. I
we
want to see
experience
the
every
new
gory
designs.
detail of dismembering iconic necromorphs. Now we will showcase our dismemberment gym. The dev team has created a peeling system that will be implemented into combat.
Ooh.
Would you mind telling us more about the original system versus the new system and what peeling actually means?
Wow.
I think actually something that's very important.
Putting it into the
feed, it is definitely a gym.
And
it's
bare bones game build.
We showcase this in a gym.
Oh dang! You can see the
We're
bones.
so early with it. Visually, we're not at the right level of quality where we want to achieve. But we want to showcase functionality here. That's what we want to talk about.
Oh, they
And
changed
what
up the
is
sounds.
system that we have in mind for peeling, like you said.
So obviously, same thing. It's a really early build. It's a gym. Everything that you see is work in progress. It's
I guess that's kind of
animation,
nice.
A lot of VFX are missing.
You get to see like more of the flesh and stuff falling off from the necromorphs, the dismemberment.
One thing that is important for us that I just show, it's first, of course, dismemberment is back, and it's back with all the depth and fun you can have in that space. But one thing we wanted to
Please tell me you get the foam finger. If you get the foam finger, I'll most likely end up buying
the
it.
thing we wanted to improve about that experience is when you're using a weapon that is not
Definitely like a little bit more detail.
Not like the plasma cutter. Plasma cutter is really fun to use. You can just shoot at anything, and really you have that instant feedback of the limb getting cut, etc. But when you had a different weapon,
Okay, they got a little bit of more bleeding animations.
How was he reacting,
All right.
etc. It was not necessarily as visceral and as clear as the original. And so that's the thing we're working on at the moment.
You just got chunks falling off of the guy.
That body destruction
Oh, that's kind of cool. You get to see a little bit more of the bones and stuff underneath the flesh.
is allowing us
All right.
to really remove, so at the moment, the flesh out of the bones of the enemy, and to give you a good sense not only of gore and horror.
It seems like the enemies do take a lot more hits, but maybe that's because it has to do with the weapon that is using.
Against this one, how close is he to die? And that's something for me that is really interesting. So when we were speaking about
All right. I like the bone
improve,
structuring. Oh man, that's kind of cool.
those are an example of what we can do is that we don't have anymore to choose which feature we actually want to push. We can have dismemberment. We can have much more precision and body destruction. We can have seamless loading for the whole ship, etc., etc. And that's something really, really interesting for us. And another thing that is actually really interesting with that system. So again, for the moment, it's really early. For the moment, you're only showcasing it on the naked slasher, so you only see it with the flesh, but of course later it's going to support like the claw, body armor, different layers, weak points, etc.
Okay.
It also improves one of the core of shooting in Dead Space, which is around the precision, and not only the precision of my weapon, but as an example, the precision of the plasma cutter. And so if I was to shoot, let's say, on that leg, then if I'm shooting here, I'm not going to cut the leg because I'm not shooting at the place where the bone is actually visible. If I want to cut that leg now, I need to be much more careful and precise in my aiming and in the shooting. And then
Okay. So
it opened a whole new layer of
talking about making your shots count. So nice. That'll definitely add a little more scary elements because then you can't just keep shooting willy-nilly along across the arm and then just expect it to eventually fall off.
And that's something really.
So you actually have to watch that same keep track of that same spot and build up that accuracy to actually dismember the necromorph, which is nice because necromorphs are sporadic, they move super crazy, and in the heat of the moment, it's gonna be tougher to take these guys down, which I like. And then I can't imagine what hard mode's gonna be like, and then maybe even beyond.
You misspell somebody's name and you're inviting somebody else to that meeting that is not part of the team, and they go like,
"Oh no." Brace yourself, strap in. So Roman, on what level can we expect the detail of filleting necromorphs, essentially? How detailed are we talking here?
Ooh, an up-close snapshot? Heck yeah. Oh my gosh. So gross, but it looks so cool.
The first steps of that technology, if the video is playing, which is not, I think, at the moment. Yes, here we go.
Nice.
You can see that it's really super precise. It's exactly where you're aiming, where you're shooting. It's exactly respecting the shape of the projectile at the enemy. If it was fire, you would see it going through the body of your enemy and burning the flesh, etc. It's the peeling,
that's cool.
System is going to be super precise. In terms of pure dismemberment, and then where you're able to.
Wow, the jaw is just like not even existing.
Here where we want to improve it, because we feel like characters like the slasher, for example, it was already really deep in terms of gameplay. Like there are different behavior based on whether you were cutting the legs or the head, where they go berserk, etc. So here our goal, it's for enemies like slasher, it's not necessarily to improve or give more precision.
Okay, so you can't really see too much of the actual like neck of the necromorph.
That's fun, and
if you were to shoot around the head area. But then again, I guess most of the time the head is kind of leaning forward.
Dismemberment and behavior, like for example the infector or the brute. Like I can't wait to show you when you get behind the brute and you start to peel his back and dig for weak points.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's the type of improvement we're going for.
Get to the weak points.
Yeah, I love the peeling of the different layers of skin down to the organs and bones, especially coming from a medical background. It's just insane to see. The level of expectation is very much up here.
Even though it's in
You know,
its
we'll
early
do it.
stages, maybe if they added a little bit more texturing to the
you might have noticed
to the
quickly in
bones.
the prototype, and that's something we're going. We want to experience a bit more. We want to dig a bit more. It's when you actually cut.
What I'm hoping is that eventually moving forward that they change up the story a little bit so that way they can kind of break off from what Dead Space 3 was and kind of make that part of the game not canon so that way they can kind of just learn from their mistakes that what Dead Space 3 was, so that way they can keep those horror elements and then keep building upon the Dead Space fan base. And then it kind of makes you wonder how Callisto Protocol is going to handle things because it has ex-developers from Dead Space and how they're going to conflict with each other, how they might actually tie in with each other. They've already kind of did some tie-ins in trailers and stuff for Callisto Protocol. But makes me wonder. I might end up liking both games, honestly.
So that means that we're gonna go from we're gonna continue to have cut off your limbs, and we're gonna have dangle your limbs too. Be the thing that people are gonna start screaming in the chat pretty soon.
All right. Well, I mean, having people scream in the chat, that's very, very dependent because it depends on how many people have played the game previously, because they'll essentially kind of know what to expect. I mean, it may be a little bit harder for them just because you have to be a little bit more precise with your plasma cutters and weapons and stuff, but I don't think that's out of the ordinary because we have some diehard fans of Dead Space that have been just binging the game like crazy and can hit the certain limbs pretty much 100% of the time. But overall, I'm kind of skeptical just because I want to see some new gameplay elements other than just, okay, it takes a little more shots to take down a necromorph. Maybe some new scare scenes or something like that, but it looks like they're mostly staying true to the old Dead Space game, which I don't mind too much. But like I said, if they were to pull something like what Capcom did with Resident Evil 2, then I'd be all aboard it. But so far, seems okay. I might still end up getting it just because I'm a Dead Space fan, and I hope that they get the foam finger back in the game. Who knows, maybe they might save it to do the remake of Dead Space 2 if enough people get it. But we'll just have to see. And yeah, I'm super excited. Can't wait to see what they do with the rest of the game and what more they'll have to show. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you guys are Dead Space fans as well. With that being said, Stray Devil Fox is out. See you guys later.